You and I with Rashmi Shetty is a human library audio podcast bringing in stories of people you and I can draw inspiration from. Welcome to the third season of this amazing story listening journey. Ordinary folks, extraordinary lives, their uniqueness and individuality, making them interesting to talk to and to listen to, each one of them completely connected to the voice in me and with motivational stories of moving beyond themselves to make a difference in the world. A reaffirmation of the fact: open your eyes wider. The world is far more beautiful when we acknowledge the presence of both you and I. Our guest this episode is Balchander M. Gandhekar, filmmaker, writer, photographer, and entrepreneur. The founder of Foresee Multimedia Pvt Limited, a production house based in Bengaluru, who are seen as pioneers in film production, animation, and new age media. He is also the founder of Hoopsters, the League of Action Heroes, India's first non-academic hybrid educational platform with a focus on mental health, life skills, parenting, and sustainability, addressing children, young adults, parents, and educationists. Thus, helping in building a community of change catalysts who are aware, inspired, responsible, and proactive individuals. A scriptwriter, director, cinematographer, and editor of nearly 2,000 films across genres of commercials, documentaries, corporate films, and public service films, Bala also loves creating coffee table books. He has also produced a film on anxiety called Cat on Hot Bricks and a series called Silhouette Confessions, which is all about people talking about stigma-based issues that they are facing. Listen in as Bala shares the amazing work that he does and his views on relationships and the power of conversations today. Hi, Bala. Such a pleasure having you on You and I with Rashmi Shetty. You have worked extensively with different groups of people and created a community of your own. But before we get to how you created the community and the different generations you deal with, as in children, parents, grandparents, what I want to know is who is Bala and where has your childhood been? What have your influences been? Because you start off first as a filmmaker. What took you into the world behind the camera?
Well, childhood was like, I think, any normal childhood. Growing up in the 70s, 60s, 70s, all we did was play and we enjoyed ourselves. We
Yeah.
had great teachers. I was blessed to have great teachers and definitely good, nice parents, who didn't stop me from doing what I want to do. I really don't have much of a memory regarding my childhood, my school and stuff like. I only know what my friends tell me now. We got a small batch of our school friends who keep telling me, and I can't somehow relate to it. I think I remember about four incidents of the whole of my childhood. One was giving a talk on I think Republic Day or Independence, and the speech was written by my cousin, and all I did was actually talk, and she was good in English, and everybody thought I could speak good English. So it was, and a couple of things, yeah, the way we used to get beaten up, and very good fun things, nothing wrong. And I don't know when it changed. Dad was an engineer. So the whole thing was, yes, you need to be an engineer, those days. And I was very fortunate. I got second class in UC. So there's no way I could get into engineering. I think the only person who wanted me to do something was my great grandmother, who wanted me to be an IAS officer, because that's one thing that's missing in the family. But anyway, it was BSc, and I said, let's see uske baad what happens. And I had a professor, physics professor, who was also a student coordinator. And it was that moment in, I think, the 77, 76, 77, when Suchitra Film Society was formed. And they're all ex-FTIs. And they had this 3-day workshop for college students on short film making. And they invited one student from every college to participate. And this professor of mine, I don't know for what joy, he said, Bala, you need to go. I said, I don't like films, and I don't have anything to do with films. I knew two names those days because going to a movie was considered a taboo, as kind of not very welcome. At the most, dad would take you once in a year or twice in a year, or we would go with a friend once in a year. So film was not my cup of tea, and I never thought of that. And he said, "You want to go?" I said, "Fair enough." And they would give me 3 days of holiday, and they would also give you 10 rupees a day for expenses. And these are bonuses, and plus your attendance. I said, "Yeah, let's go." And so 3 days was fun, and then I got hooked. And you won't believe it. I think we were one of the early guys to actually make films on something called the 8 format, which nobody knows. And people from like Girish Kasavalli and there's somebody called Shashi there, Ramchandra, very supportive. But we couldn't afford any of them because each roll of film was it was crazy cost.
Yeah.
But anyway, we did it, and I made 3 films. I even tried to put the audio into a 8 film, which doesn't come with audio. And by second year BSc, I had made my 3 films. And third year, I decided I'm joining films. And then all hell was let loose at home. And I had 2 of my relatives who were well-known names in the industry. So I was given reference and said, "No, you can't do film. You can't do it. Go and join a bank." So the deal I had was I write the bank exam. I also write the film institute exam. I wrote the exam. I think we had about 2,500 applicants for about, I think, 16 seats. And my parents were very sure that I'll not get it, going by my marks and stuff. And I came back, and I remember getting a letter from the institute saying that come to Pune for the second round. Okay. And by that time, I had given 2 exams. One was a bank exam for a clerical post, and one was something called sales executive test. I just done that, and I had no clue what I was going to do. And my exams were over. The BSc I was through. But I got the letter from FTI to come to Pune. My dad was quite surprised that I got through the first round. Okay. But they said, you got another cousin you're not met for a long time in Pune, and they stay very close to the film institute, go. But the condition is you're going to go to bank or the other one. You can go and write just for the experience. And I went to Pune, and first time we were exposed to the world of glamour. Not glamour, but a different environment. Coming from a very middle class college education. So I remember walking into the interview after the written practicals. I went to interview, and we had all the top names of the film industry. I think Govind Nilani was one of the person. I'm not sure. I don't remember. And I was the only guy walked in with 3 cans of films. And I kept it on the table. And they said, "What's that?" And first was that, "What's that?" I said, "Film." And we kept talking about what I did with the film. And the interesting thing was the film was called The Addict. There's a chain of interesting events that happened. It's called The Addict. I don't know why I did that film. Okay, not that I was into anything. And the third film was on dental care, where I did my first animation. Stop block animation.
So these were projects you're already done, is it?
It's on my own. We are a small gang of people. And we called ourselves the Fantasy Film Productions. And we all put in 10 rupees each to get the money to buy the raw reels. We just did it. I even shot in my college, those days. So then by the end of the third day at the institute, they said, "You're in. You're one of the 12 or 16 or whatever the number was." And they had this deadline, next 1 week you got to pay the fee or else. So I called my dad and said, "You know what? We need to pay the fees." He said, "You're not going. Okay? You're going to come back and wait for the bank results." So the deal was, if I get a bank or if I get the other one, I quit the institute.
Okay.
So somehow dad managed to get the funds together and we paid the money. And after Film Institute, I decided I prefer Bangalore to Mumbai.
No, what happened to bank and the other exam? You didn't make it.
By the way, bank I got through. Okay.
Okay.
And I was forced to go to the interview. And when I went to interview for the bank, they had made a blunder in the form. They put my thing as typist for the job of a typist.
Okay.
And I said, I don't know typing. Even though I knew it, but I said, I don't know typing. They said, "Error here, so you have to reject me." So they rejected me after that. So that was out.
Okay.
And then the other one was there. The sales executive thing was still pending. So I came to Institute, and within 10 days, I got the letter from Chennai, Madras those days, which said, please report to Chennai office. And mind you, those days they offered me a salary I think of 2,000 rupees, which was big,
Big, no?
big. And dad said, pack up and come. And I tore the letter. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And I think he didn't forgive me for a year. Definitely, I'm sure. But by the end of the year, I was sent on a student exchange program to the Australian Film School. Okay. Me and another friend of mine who happened to be a roommate also. That's when my parents sort of felt, kuch kar raha hai banda, He's not wasting his time getting
Oh, so they sent you this exchange from the Film Institute.
from the Film Institute. The
Oh,
government of India sent me for 6 month
okay.
trip, which changed a lot of things. It gave me confidence. And what you see now is not what I was. I was definitely a shyer guy and,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a quieter. And you now I am, but it's not a different thing. But very interestingly, my first project in the institute was called Where Will Children Play? This was in 79-80.
We were losing open spaces by then.
Yeah, but enough spaces those days. But I
No,
still made this.
no. My question is now, yes, where will children play is relevant, but at
It wasn't
70,
relevant those days. But
yeah.
I still made the film. Trust me on this. Because I read an article in Indian Express,
Uh,
which was just a bunch of conversations. And
yeah.
I felt interesting. And I made this slideshow. It's not film, it's a slideshow. You have to put an audio and a slideshow. And again, it was the first project where I used interviews as the audio.
Okay.
Nobody had ever used it.
Mhm.
By children, adults, grandparents, all talking about where will children play. And all my photographs were based on the conversation. And my last film was a film on speech and hearing issues. Dr. Chandrasekhar's institution was just being set up.
Mm.
And I bumped into Dr. Chandrasekhar. He said, listen, I can do the film, but it's not going to cost you anything as long as you pay for my travel up and down. He said, okay. So 10 of us from Institute, we got a train, came to Bangalore, stayed at the YMCA those days, and we made this film. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. Why I'm going back, the flashback is a film on where will children play, a film on, speech and hearing and stuff. And 40 years later, I'm doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in the middle, went into the whole glamour world of serials and ad films and documentaries. And that's fascinating.
Yeah. No. This is
Looking
very
back, looking
fascinating.
back is very interesting.
Correct. Because a lot of the seeds are sown with those influences, and some of them strongly remain, while many just recede to the background. So here you are at this point in your life where you are at the Film Institute. You have, to your credit, a couple of documentaries that you've done like that. You've gone to Australia on a student exchange, and then you come back and you're in the glamour world of ad films and everything else. Where Will Children Play was something that you made in 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
And when did Hoopla Club, which then became Hoopsters, be created by you, and what prompted you? Because as a mother, I remember my boys bringing the Hoopla Club magazine from school. And when I saw it and I went through the magazine, I was like, this is done by somebody who has given a lot of thought. So, in this time that you were with the glamour industry, the ads and other ad films that you were making, was it at that time that something prompted you to do something with kids, or what prompted you to even think of something for children? Because
It's been
what
very,
what
very
years are we
accidental.
talking, Bala, now? What years are we talking? 80s, mid 80s, early 90s?
What?
That you are in the completely immersed in the glamour side of filmmaking?
From 85, since I left the institute, 84, 85, all the way, even today, I'm still there. I'm
Yeah.
not June.
No, but
Yeah.
deep into only that was what? From
Oh,
85?
between 85, where I was the only Bangalore guy who was either editing or shooting any serial that was made in Bangalore.
Correct.
Whether
Okay.
it's Shekhar Kapoor or, your
Mm.
MSFU, you name the names. It was, Naga Bharanath, it was fun. I was the editor for everybody. Even
Oh,
though I did a cinematography
cool.
specialization institute, I was known as the editor in Bangalore.
Okay.
And then I got into both. So I
Okay.
was, buy one, take one free or something like that. So that's where I came in. But I think I was always a Walt Disney fan. I mean, even today, if you come home, you see a Walt Disney poster, and it was what the poster was at my office when we were in the early stages. I don't know. I think he influenced me a lot. You know,
Okay. So he
I
was
want.
into animation. What about Walt Disney inspired you? The fact that he
I don't
related.
know. I don't know. Disneyland. I think it was something. The
Mm.
whole concept of Disneyland. Watching what do you call Mickey Mouse and growing up, and I don't know, but it's something. I think the influence is great. Even today, for example, if you look at, I was always fascinated by the characters he created. Okay, Goofies and Mickeys and all that. And when I went to Disneyland, I got those souvenirs with all the characters, you know, and what do you call those, or whatever you call those. Anyway, I want to have that in India, and Hoopster actually is doing it. We
Okay.
have created our own characters.
Okay.
If you look at a magazine, every character, whether it's a cub reporter or a whatever, gardener, whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
every one of them has got a character and they got a name.
Okay.
So hopefully, as Hoopster takes along, we will see those in the market.
Okay. So here you are,
Oh,
1985, 2005. You've been in the industry for 20 years now. And when did you create Hoopla Club? Hoopla as a magazine around 2005, 6, 7, 8, somewhere on that.
seven was the dummy copy, the first
Yeah.
copy.
So
Then 2008 we launched it. Yeah.
correct. So was it the fact that you wanted to create characters like Walt Disney, or why did you think of kids? Because nobody was thinking of them?
No, I think it's somewhere there. Considering in '79 I made a film called Where Will Children Play. But what's interesting? There's this one girl. She was a client of mine, and I had offices all over, and we had 5 offices in the same building, and I had my separate room. And she walked in after I finished the job, and said, "Bala, let's talk." I said, "What?" A newspaper for children.
Hmm.
And I got excited. I get excited by anything that's thrown at me. And we sat and discussed quite a lot. And then we realized we didn't have the money to do it. The idea was there, was there, but we couldn't afford it. And this woman disappeared. I don't even know her name, but I had never met her since then. Okay, this was possibly in 2001 or two, 3 or 4 at that period. And she disappeared. We lost the whole thing. We said, I never thought of it again. Okay. And one day, my daughter's friends, who are 2 years senior to her, they wanted to meet me. I'm that counseling uncle for everybody out there. So they said, Uncle, what to do next? All engineers. Okay, they had done engineering and stuff. So then, what do you guys want to do? They said, we want to come out with a youth magazine. Okay. I said, interesting. The engineer students think of youth magazine. Then I said, why doing youth magazine? Let's work on a children's magazine. And this guy said, yeah. So we found one person who can write. We got these kids, and they put together the first tabloid version of Hoopla,
Hmm.
and we were excited. The minute we did that, and we were about to go out, the parents of these 3 kids said, "What nonsense! You have studied engineering. We have spent 5 years. You are not working on a magazine," and they locked them up. Okay, and they said they can't come. So it was shelved again, you know, went in back burner. And
Okay.
1 year later, this girl who came selling insurance to me, okay, actually selling insurance. And we were talking. And I said, listen, I got the idea, can somebody manage it? And she said, yes, I'd like to do that. And she and other people got into play, the whole gang got into play. She's worked on it. And there's one more girl who was into writing on that. And these two actually, and then my daughter was there. She was studying, but then she had to work to earn her pocket money. So she was part of it. I think the three people took it on. And Hoopla actually became a big thing. We had almost 12,000 subscriptions at one point,
Yeah.
which was big.
So
Uh,
how did you decide to market it? Like you went to school, spoke to the principals about it. How did you reach schools? Like how did you go to schools?
See, one good thing was my production company, Foresee. Now, Foresee was a big brand. It's always been a big brand, and almost everybody in Bangalore had worked with us.
Oh, okay.
Almost everybody. So
Okay.
for me, it was easier to get connections.
Okay. Yeah.
Somebody would connect me. I know the principal of that thing, and DPS North was the first client, first subscriber.
Yeah.
You know, I got the reference to somebody else, and anyway, it went around that way. But I think, yeah, it was quite easy actually, but
Yeah.
not as easy as you thought twice. But then, yeah, DPS was first. Then I think South came in. Then we had about 25 schools, if I'm not wrong, at our peak.
Okay. Okay. So when you put this together with these group of youngsters, you put it all together, you started, and like you said, because of the branding that you had carried and the production that was doing it, it was easy to push it to schools. But a magazine comes home, kids throw it in the side and do other things. Today, kids are super distracted, is an understatement. But 2007, 8, 9 is a time when there was not that much of a distraction for children, other than maybe video games, those small little things that were there. So, were children reading a lot at that time, or were they still playing a lot that time compared to kids today? Because you've seen generations of children over a period of time. You started around about 2008, then you said 2000 till even today it's changed to Hoopsters. So when did Hoopla become Hoopsters that you moved and it's been on now? So what have you
I
seen
think,
over the years?
I think it's a combination. The children were still playing. The idea of Hoopla Club was to get children to read because I saw a drop in children reading. And I was also working with a lot of mobile companies. I was doing their films for them, all the top guys. And I knew where that was heading. I still remember making a film for, I think, I won't take names, which in 2000, in 2000, there was this big thing about Mission 2020.
Ah,
Whether
yeah.
it was an IT company or a mobile company, everybody talked about Vision 2020. And there was the honcho of one of the mobile companies said 2000, okay, 2001. I was interviewing him and he said, by 2010, I want to have every auto rickshaw driver, every vegetable vendor to have a mobile phone. But within by 2005, 6, every auto driver had a mobile. It was moving at a very crazy pace.
Yeah.
And I also had an insight into what's happening in the mobile companies, the plans and stuff to a level. And I knew it's going to affect reading for the children. I have always had friends who are readers. We used to exchange books, even, we still do it. So I realized we need to have magazine. There was no magazine except Tinkle. Tinkle was the only comic. It's not
Yeah.
even a magazine.
Yeah.
It's very fascinating. The school principals were very, very supportive. Okay. So they said, yeah, please, whoever wants to subscribe can subscribe. Parents were, I would not say we're very happy with them because I got a couple of few shocks in my life because we had priced the magazine at 30 rupees, okay, 2008. It was for 9 months, some 270, 300 something that was the cost. And we thought everybody's going to pick it up because it's peanuts, you
Yeah.
know. And I remember a couple of corporates said, Bala, why don't you promote your magazine in whatever we do? Because we
Correct.
want to support it.
Yeah.
And I remember keeping my magazine and all of us standing in the, at the display, at the counter or whatever you call it. And I had this family, father, mother, two sons. And the two kids were holding a packet of popcorn, I think one of those chips kind of thing, a chocolate bars, which between the whole thing would have been at least worth 300, the two kids. And the father, mother go through the magazines, like kept around, they go through, very well done, very nice, etc. And the last was, how much is it? I said 30 rupees fee, 270 for a year or something like that. The instant thing was very expensive. And that's when the reality hit. That's the thing, but the children were interested. The teachers were very interested. And we had a post box in every school. Every school had a post box. A Hoopla Club post box. The kids were supposed to drop their articles or drawings or paintings, which you would then publish
In
in
the
the magazine.
okay.
Every month, all the 20 odd schools, it would be overflowing. So we are tied up with UNGPO and all that. People are taken there. But everybody was very, very supportive. Nobody discussed anything but said, let's. And that I think was. And the best thing was just a year or two ago, there's a kid who called me and he said, is it Hoopla Club? And I had never heard Hoopla Club for 8, 10 years. I said, yeah. He said, I'm so and so. I used to subscribe to your magazine. I said, okay, that's long back. So what are you doing now? And he says, I'm studying for engineering. I said, okay, so why did you call up Hoopla? He says, no, I had a problem and I knew I could trust you to talk about. I said, wow, that I think is the most beautiful thing, I'm engineering student who's got the magazine. There was one, I think that speaks for our credibility. And last year, a girl calls me up and she says, can you help me? I said, what happened? Saying I was subscriber for almost from standard 2 to standard 8 or something lad of Hoopla magazine, 3 or 8 or whatever, some grade lad. And all the magazines. But when I shifted the house, I lost them. Do you have copies of? And she was studying, I think, literature, and I don't know what the combo is, at Mount Carmel. He says, Hoopla led me to take this up. Small things are beautiful.
Nice.
But today you see it's sad with the social media and the mobiles. I mean, it's really sad that parents are not supportive, that teachers don't know what to do, the principals don't know what to do. Students are distracted. There's no direction. They're brilliant. The kids are really good if you direct them.
When social media came in, maybe around 2013,
15.
2014.
Yeah, 15.
Yeah. So is when it started gaining traction. And by 15, 16, it took over our lives. You had Hoopla till about 2018. I'm sure you must have seen the change drastic from 15 onwards with the number of subscribers or with the number of articles that came in. What reduced?
Actually, by 2015, we stopped Hoopla because we thought we'll move it to Hoopsters.
Okay. But
Okay.
any reason for the name change?
Yeah, the thing was when we realized that, see, there was a drop in the magazines from 2014 itself.
Okay.
2013, 14. You saw the drop.
Yeah.
And we realized it's not going to sustain. We are
Hmm.
very clear. Okay. We had tons of content, tons of connections. We didn't want to stop it. So we said, okay, we're to go online. So my thing was, no, Hoopla was anti-online.
Correct.
So we cannot go online.
Yeah.
So there's a big debate. So we had to shut everything down for a year and say, what are we looking? Then we said, okay, we'll convert children's magazine into this, blah, blah, all that happened, didn't work. Then we realized the parents are the problem. So we said, let's start addressing the parents. And this whole discussion took some time, I think for a year or two. We didn't know where we were heading or what's the route you need to take. But something else was happening on the parallel in the film side. I was doing a lot of work with on mental health, a lot of work. I was involved with Niman for some time, it was fun. So then I realized I know a lot of wonderful people. Why can't I bring them all together? Who are not the page three kinds, but they really know this. And I was very fortunate to have met all these people. I said, let's get them together. And that worked. They're very supportive. I remember we were shooting every second day at the studio on something or other. And mental health awareness was just coming in. Not really there, but just there. So we are actually the pioneers in actually pushing the whole context. Somewhere in 2018-19, we said, okay, let's bring parenting, mental health, life skills together.
Okay.
So that's what's missing. Okay. And the other thing we realized was everybody was doing workshops, all that was happening. Not that we are the first guys to do it. But the problem was there was no continuity in engagement. People would come, deliver the talk, go home.
Yeah.
Everybody went home. What next? Was a big question. So the people who really needed help wouldn't speak up.
Yeah.
So the purpose was not solved. Whether it's a corporate or school or communities,
Correct.
this is the issue even today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we said that's our gap which we want to fill. So that's when we realized that's the gap you're going to fill and make it a hybrid model of online and offline. So our offline is people to people, online is the continuity in engagement. So we are in touch with you all the time. Anybody who participates anything with us, does anything with us, we are in touch with you. That's one issue. The second we wanted to solve was people were working in silos. Even today they are.
Yeah.
Again, that doesn't solve any problem. Everybody talks of collaboration, nobody wants to. So we said, no, we need to do it. And we've been attempting that from 2019-20. The COVID was useful for us because we could do a lot of things in that time. People started talking about mental health. Things came out in the front. Yeah, I think that's where we come in. Bring in this community, bring in this collaboration. But everybody talks. When you talk to anybody, they say, oh, that's the only way to go forward.
Correct.
But nobody takes that step forward.
Yeah.
So we are trying to solve that.
I'm seeing parallelly, Bala. You have parents, you have kids who are now completely into media, as in anything to do with visual, not reading, but. And you have these schools which are trying to inculcate the habit of reading to children. So, from a society that was very encouraging, principals were very happy to have this magazine. You have now gone online, offline, you have the hybrid version of kids. Now, another thing that I heard you repeating is mental health and also parents. I'm sure with your interaction with parents and students from 2008, you have noticed the shift in parenting styles as well. What is it our children need today, and what is it the parents need to definitely know today?
Oh, there's lots missing. And it's obvious to everybody. But nobody wants to accept. I think there's no time. People are not giving each other time. The parents are not giving time. There is no conversation between the parent and the child. And you'll be very surprised. It is across socio-economic state. Every child I speak to, there's only one thing to say, no time. I don't know what's happening. Trust me, it's not healthy. If you really go out there, speak to the counselors in the schools, speak to the teachers, speak to people. The biggest problem is there is no interaction between the parent and.
Okay.
I think there are 4 sentences which are spoken in every house. Did you do your homework? Come for dinner? Are you ready? Possibly one more. I don't think any parent has asked the child, how are you? How was the day in school? Or even if they ask, but be like a statement, not really a question.
Yes.
That I think is, and the horror stories we hear. I mean, that's a different subject by itself. The kids are going through hell. I mean, I interact with kids. You know what I find them very interesting? They never discuss the word empathy, not with the exact word. But when I talk of kindness, when I talk of this, they're least interested. When I ask them to write, work on scripts, work on ideas, work on things, it's about battle, killing, suicide. It's all about that. There is nothing nice that kids expect, which speaks for itself. Whether it's kids jumping off the roofs, why is happening much more than we know. I think we're in dangerous crossroads. And I think people should wake up. I mean, that's something, how much ever we might deny. It's not the child's fault. That's for sure.
True.
It's not the child. The children are actually nice. They're still as childlike as we were. Nothing has really changed there. It's just that the environment's crushing them.
Yeah, actually, a very important point, because there are two things emerging here. You're trying to build a community through your magazine and with the hybrid version of it. And there is a whole generation which doesn't have people to talk to. So, did the two meet, the community and the children?
Too early, but then yes, the efforts are being made. At least people are meeting. Like today, I teach in some schools, and this year, people are saying, let's work as team. This is a nice story. At least I'm hearing that we have started, centers across Bangalore
Okay.
in collaboration with people. This is called the Action Junctions, the Hoopster Action Junction, where we want something happening every week for parents, children, everybody, in the same area, same focus areas. People are open. People are accepting that people meeting people needs to happen. People are opening up, which is very different from 3 years back. But the only problem I see is the parent. I think they're stuck. The school wants to do things, the children need it. The gap is parents. Unless that something happens there. I mean, we talk of mental health, for example. Everybody says, oh, 21st century, people are open about mental health. Trust me, Rashmi. Parents today will still not accept a lot. You say mental health, it's still stigmatized like crazy. We are just following some illogical stuff there. It is scary.
It is, Bala, but it is also that there was a time when family, and when we moved from joint family to the nuclear family system, there were two kids, okay? Three kids became two kids. And now there is one kid in the family. Parents both are working, and this one kid has no company at home. So, how much can somebody live alone when the parents are busy? And so that's where I thought loneliness crept in, because you don't know where to share it, you don't know with who you're sharing it. And that's where social media became the best friend. So there was one place where they could find a friend even if they have not seen the friend. And like there was this blue whale game and so many other games
Yeah, yeah.
kids got caught into, and sold jewelry and all that to pay those people online and ended up dying. Where are we going as a society is a question that I thought maybe you will be able to answer, because you've seen the different times from 2008 when you started with kids and interacting with parents in school to 2026 when a lot has shifted and changed in society. COVID came and it shook all of us. There are many waves that you must have seen that most of us actually didn't even know existed. And how are you seeing this, and where do you think the community will play a role? Because even just the members of the Hoopla club, from there, when you brought it to Hoopsters and brought it online, did it encourage more people to join the community and become members to help give inputs, step in for each other? Because you've seen the different faces and the waves that came in with the generations. How would you, from your lens, look at the whole thing? Because you've also been a filmmaker and you have done ads which are like to maybe a minute or a minute and a half, and you've also done editing for films. So you've seen it in the expanse of what a canvas can give. But if I give you a canvas now and ask you to tell me how would you divide the different ages from 2008 to 2026 with parents, teachers, and children, what is it that you'll come up with?
2008 to 2015, 14, 15, at least people had friends. People had somebody to talk to across age groups. You see, everything is not restricted to any age group.
Correct, correct.
Okay? If you look at today, everybody is lonely. When I talk to people across age groups, married, unmarried, the blah blah, whatever you want to call it, I always ask them, said, what do you think we should address? And 100 out of 100 say loneliness. That is the epidemic that is hitting the market.
Okay.
And I think that's going to destroy. Yeah, because of loneliness, we have stopped being we stopped trusting people.
Yeah.
Everything is transactional. You are, and then there are labels that have come out in the market now, which is exploiting the whole scenario. I think labels are destroying people.
True.
Labels people, and the loneliness is horrible across age groups. And the other thing which is in a mess are relationships. Because of relationship issues, there is a loneliness issue. Because of loneliness issues, relationship issue. They're it's like a chicken and egg story. The problem is we are trying to address depression, anxiety, which is the wrong thing to do. We're not addressing the base, the starting point. And everybody, labeled these things. They misuse these terms, and that is creating havoc. And in the process, everybody is exploiting the scenario. There's a huge mushrooming of people who claim to be the domain experts in areas.
Yeah.
That's scary. That's dangerous. That's very, very dangerous. I mean, look at what do you call? Take any of the societies, gated communities. They're the toughest to get into.
Correct.
They're toughest. I can walk anywhere and get anybody, but uh, they don't want to do anything. You do anything there, nobody wants to participate.
Okay, so
You know,
I'll take you back. Then in that case, how did you build? Because clearly a community is very important in this case. How did you build your community and how did you sustain it for so long?
I think it was a combination of things, Rashmi. Because one was, as a filmmaker, there was a connect with people.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, and whatever we did it because we believed in it, okay? And we wanted to do it sincerely. And people involved with us are involved with us. They do give us references. They connect us. They support us. So we're able to hold on. And we're also discovering ourselves. I mean, it took me 7 years to know what I am doing. Trust me, if you look at the presentations, there's version 1, version 2, version 1A, 1A, 3B. It goes on because we are also not sure what are they really addressing. But today, I think we know what we are doing. That yes, we are ultimately building a community of action heroes. But our whole idea is all the learning, knowledge, everything got. If you don't put it to action,
Yeah,
there is no purpose.
correct.
I can learn anything I want. If I don't put it to action, it's not. If I don't put it to action, there is no change.
Yes.
So that is what at last we have decided we are calling ourselves the League of Action Heroes across age groups.
Okay.
It keeps up with my childhood, thing of action heroes and all the superheroes. At the same time, it serves the purpose today.
So there is a column called League of Action Heroes?
It's going to come in now.
Okay.
It's going to come.
Okay, and who's going to be the superhero there, the action hero there?
Everybody, all of us. All of us.
Okay.
I want, see, if you look at any program we've got, it says to become action.
Yeah.
That's going to be our story. Whatever we do. Can you go home and do something from what you have learned?
Yeah.
Can you submit it? Can you inspire somebody else? So that's the whole thing of community. It's a proactive community. It's not just a community for community's sake. It's not a WhatsApp group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a WhatsApp group.
Okay.
Because I'll tell you, Rashmi, see, there are a lot of people doing some amazing stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I was going through what you are doing in this, you and I. These are the people who are missing out. We were just talking to somebody other day. I said, see, unless you've got a family which is connected, unless you are seen in the PR places, unless you are in the glam world, you can't get anywhere. And that I think is sad because there are people who are doing some great stuff. And Hoopsters' idea is, can we get them together? And that's exactly what we have done so far. We are talking to the mothers who have brought up their children who are special needs. The struggle, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We have brought the stories out. Check out our Hoopex TV. Check.
Okay.
And people said people will not talk. I said people will talk. And they did talk. I have had people from across who've spoken about how they dealt with challenges, personal, or professional or whatever. And then they have come together to form groups. They have come together to support what I do. Because these people know the value of a struggle.
Yeah.
They know the value of dreams.
True.
It's not, see, the idea is not to make these things fashionable, but to make it productive.
Nice.
See, I come from both the worlds. I come from that world where you get called in for the parties of change catalysts and stuff like that at that level, where nothing really happens. Then there are people out here who are really doing some wonderful stuff.
Yeah.
How do we get them? That's the kind of community.
If there is something that you would want to tell children who are lonely, what is it that you would like to tell them?
I wouldn't tell children, I won't speak to children, because children are not lonely by themselves. They are made to be lonely by the world around them. Children by themselves not lonely. They can do. It's just that the world around them. Their parents to begin with. They're the beginning. Don't go there, don't do this. No, from morning you come from school. Imagine today children have 3 hours bus journey. another 6 hours of school, then you go home, then you attend a tuition class, then you attend a dance class, then you attend this, then you come back and do your homework. I see kids, they are zapped out. I mean, you're making them lonely because you're not letting them meet people, you're not letting them play. Child will be, child by itself, themselves are perfectly. It's the parents. I would go again and again and again to this parents too. They are lonely themselves. So all the frustration they put on the world around them. I mean, have you read the comments you get on the WhatsApp groups?
Yeah.
They're hilarious. They're hilarious. There's always a crib and a crib and a crib and a crib. Parents can involve children. They don't teach them anything. No reading, no writing, no painting, no music has to be a class. This has to be a class. There's no enjoyment in it. You know what I mean?
Correct. No. The idea that most parents justify why they put their child into so many classes is the fact that they're single children. And therefore, if they go to different classes, they get to interact with children, other children their age, younger or senior. And that will help them build friendships.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Well, have you ever been to a class? The parent or the school or the driver drops the child to the class.
Yeah.
They all rush into the class. They do their tatai for the next 1 hour. And they all come out, the driver's waiting, the mother's waiting. Where's the time to interact? That's exactly the way we have structured our program is the post-activity engagement. That's when you make your friends.
Yeah.
And every activity is not about learning the art. None of our activities, even though we are into music, songs, none of them is about the skill part of it. It is about how do you converse with other people? How does music help you to interact? How does music help you to, use it in real life? These are things. So for us, it's not about learning a guitar. If you look at all our programs, it's not about learning a guitar or whatever instrument. It is about what does music teach you as a life skill. Like we did something interesting recently called Rhythm Rebels, where you're taught to create music with any object around you. When you walked in, there were 5 kids. Then I think it became 7 or 8. Then all the parents joined in. So the whole session was parents and children interacting, creating music, and having great time. So the idea is we're not engaging parents and children together. And everything is taught like an art form. I mean, to hell with it. Music is all connection. If you look at all these arts, they're all about community bonding, right? Everything came because of community bonding. People were in a community would play music, or they would sit and tell stories, or they would, dance. That's what a community was. We have forgotten that. But what we are teaching, which tal is right, which, rhythm is wrong, which raga. I mean, I'm not against it. That can be the next level if you're interested.
Yeah.
But don't get me interested in music by all this.
They learn it right if they learn it like that. They learn it right, and therefore that's why the insistence.
Tell me, you would like to learn about something because you're interested, right?
Yes.
So our idea is first get them interested. Then you learn. Nobody's stopping you. We are not against the art form. I am a filmmaker. I'm an artist. I love the art form. I'm a stickler to that. But get them interested because you need to create conversations.
You dropped a very beautiful, powerful word, conversation. And that is missing in today's world, conversations. So
Tell me about it.
whether it is between friends, whether it is between relationships, what is missing is conversation. So do you think that COVID made us look at conversations different?
No. COVID was just an excuse we all give. It was dying any which ways.
Okay.
I mean, trust me on this. I mean, as filmmaker, the best advantage, we keep on meeting people. We keep on talking. We keep on.
Correct.
Look at how things are interfering. I don't read. People don't read nowadays. So what's happened? The sense of humor is gone. Every conversation, the sense of humor is gone, which means the conversation can't go beyond it. You meet anybody. I mean, how would we all, when you and me met long back, or when I meet people long back, how was it? It started off with something, went to something else. We discovered each other's interest,
Yeah.
We understood their character in the way they spoke, the words they used. That's missing today. You got to say A for apple. You cannot say A for apricot. You know what I mean? You cannot in today's world because they've lost the vocabulary. You go out for a dinner, you go for a conversation lasts for exactly 10 minutes,
Yeah.
5 sentences, possibly. How are you? How was the day? What you doing? Anything interesting? Story ends there. So nobody's doing anything to talk about. Nobody's doing anything. See, you got to do something to talk about it, right? I'm sure even our ancestors who were in the early part of the humankind, they would go and kill the animal, bring the animal. They have story to say, right? Today they don't have. You talk to him, how was the day? Same old.
Yeah. No, that's true, Bala.
I'm sure you meet people. I'm sure you are seeing the difference.
No, the very purpose of this podcast is to get the stories out from people's lives because each one of us is a walking, talking storybook. And the more we talk to people around us, the more we understand what makes our story interesting. So that is where this conversation also started. There is so much expansively that you're doing. So maybe I'm just putting it out there that we start a series of, because I'm sure you are a storyteller on your own and you have stories inside you which are worthy to be shared about parenting, about children, about loneliness, about mental health, because you've seen all of this over the years. At this point in our conversation, there are two questions which I normally ask towards conclusion. And the first one is about COVID. COVID taught all of us something. What did COVID teach you?
COVID was the best time of where I came from, where our life was. Okay. It gave me a time off from work. Honestly, you've seen me work, so I don't remember taking off. So one was that. Second, it gave me an excuse for everything that I did not do. And it also was a time when everybody was at home, so I could do a lot of interviews online for my Hoopex TV. That's on a personal level. I mean, it sort of, I wouldn't say it affected me. It didn't. Uh, but I know what was happening outside, and that was scary. But you ask me personally, no, I think I actually,
COVID.
yeah, except that I had to, I lost a few dear ones, which was tough. And in some cases, I had to go and cremate those bodies, which was scary, which was like alone, and you had to go to the crematoriums and stuff. But that it's also a time I realized that whatever I did in Hoopla Club long back, a lot of goodwill was there, especially in the medical fraternity and other fraternities. So a lot of my friends or whatever, if they wanted help, I could provide them with that.
Okay.
With your network contacts,
Correct.
a call away,
Correct.
you could do that. You could do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? So that was, I think, good that I could help them at one level with, and whatever I was doing as a filmmaker or as a founder of Hoopsters, Hoopla Club, the network what we are building came handy to a lot of people. Especially when people are going through a feeling of frustration, anger. We could provide them help. And mental health was still not in the big stage those days.
Yeah.
We
Correct.
were in the forefront,
Yeah.
so we could help them and help us build the people together.
3 life lessons, Bala, that you would like to conclude with. 3 life lessons that you have learned over these vast areas of expertise and experience that you've had.
How would you define life? Whatever you ask me,
What
life
you've
experience.
lived, what you've lived is life.
What I will do. Okay, it's been a great life, trust me. I
Uh-huh.
mean, if I go back 40, 50 years and see where I came from to what I experienced, wow, I'm absolutely wow. Okay. I think I met some amazing people. And I think we should do what we want to do. And we should really explore. I mean, I know it's easy to say, but I think, no, I'm looking back, I'm glad I lived, the way I lived.
Okay.
Glad whatever guided me to where I am today.
Mm.
You call it whatever you want to call it, or it's just life. Very fortunate. No regrets. Yeah, there are a couple of regrets. If you look at, I wish I had got some papers signed properly, I had my documentation right. You know, Those were the business part of it.
Mm.
If I let those away, personally, very, very grateful. Very grateful to be doing what I'm doing. Like I always believe in one thing. Be grateful that you got the five senses going.
Yeah.
But apart from it, I think I'm grateful. I mean, I would never even visualize this.
Okay, so gratitude is one life lesson. Then the other two?
I think it's gratitude and gratitude and gratitude. I mean, whether look at anything, I don't think there's any. I'm not going to give a. How do you put it? I'm not advising anybody. So it's more like introspection. If I'm going to introspect, times have changed. So one has to watch how you say things, to whom you say things. That's the difference I see between the older generation and the new ones. You should really watch out. It's not like you can't be as casual as we were nowadays,
Yeah, yeah.
where I could say anything to you and you understood what was behind it. Like I told, today is A for Apple.
Mm,
And it's sad. That I think is a very sad thing.
mm, mm.
That you have to watch every word you say.
Yeah, today especially.
Which is scary,
Yeah.
which is very, I don't like it. I don't personally like it. So I moved out from a lot of acquaintances because I am not the kind of guy who can watch my words. So yes, I have learned to be alert. Yeah. The second, I don't know, just third is chill. I think just do what you want to do. But I'm glad I did Hoopsters. Look at this way. If I had not had Hoopsters, okay, the number of films being made is reduced drastically. And I don't know what's going to happen after AI comes to the second level. Because that is another scary future. Very, very scary future. Because if AI at level 1 itself is like this, AI at level 2, level 3 will be something to watch out for. And I'm glad it Hoopsters because today it's giving me an opportunity to put together 40 years or 50 years of my life into some purpose. Rashmi, there's one of the lines which we use in Hoopsters, which says, I think it's time we leave a better children for our planet. The planet can take care of itself.
So what legacy are we leaving behind is
exactly
a question that we need to ask ourselves.
It's now or never. But yeah, I'm optimistic there. That's why Hoopster exists. And actually, I should be thanking you for doing this kind of thing, Rashmi. Because I think what you're doing is very, very important. I think these are the voices that need to be heard. Because what we lack today, honestly, is inspiration. If we can start inspiring people, I'm sure things will change.
All the very best.
Thank you. Take care. Same to you.
Bye.
Okay. Take care.
With that, we complete this episode of You and I with Rashmi Shetty. Do let us know if you know inspirational people whose story needs to be heard. You can write in at rashmi.thirdeye@gmail.com. That is rashmi.thirdeye@gmail.com.